What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/TalesFromTheCustomer. Alright, this story's called Stranded at Work, the most idiotic transportation company in the history of the universe. Hello, Reddit land. I'm here to tell you the harrowing story of how I was indeed stranded at work Tuesday night by the absolute worst cab company I've ever had the displeasure of associating with. Damn, sorry, I kind of somewhat sorta lost my voice because I was playing Call of Duty and you know how that gets. Also, I am on mobile and have vision problems, so please excuse any errors. I'll be sure to double check everything before I post. You have been warned, so please enjoy at your own risk. So let's start with some basic background. I am in my mid-20s and work at a big box hardware store, the blue one for all you Americans out there. Normally, I get to work by a cab, specifically one that's driven by one of my friends that works for the company. I have about 3 or 4 total. I'm also disabled and, as I mentioned, have extremely low vision. I recently got approved for cab vouchers issued by my insurance company for non-medical purposes, work, school, church, etc., which my mom also has. She's totally one. Normally, we only use this account with one of my or our friends as an assigned driver to ensure we don't have any problems, since 90% of the rest of the fleet is made up of foreigners who have no respect for disabled passengers, or just some random people that together basically act like a tribe of incompetent baboons. I've had several issues using my transit discount card to get cheap cabs for short distances before, so I'm glad I have the new account now since I can't actually assign anybody to the other trips. So with that in mind, on to the story from hell. It was a deep and stormy night. A normal workday for me, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and after how insane it was last week due to the holiday, I wasn't really looking forward to. My first friend, we'll call him Ronald for the story, had gone on vacation the Sunday before Christmas. So I was having my other friend, let's say Daniel, drive me to work last week, and he worked until Christmas Eve and won't be back until next Monday. So now I was left with my third string driver, who will be named Tanya. She apparently doesn't really go on vacation and works almost every day, which was good for me since I needed the help. So now we skip forward to Tuesday. I called the cab company in the morning to ensure she was the driver assigned to my trips until my other friends got back, and had to fix my standing order for a third time since they can never get anything right. Now, it's important to note that these calls used to go to the local office in their dispatchers, but earlier this year, they made the absolute brilliant decision to outsource the call center to the Philippines, and unfortunately, they can't really get their heads out of their asses far enough to do anything right, much less listen to their customers. This is why we're here. So the trips are set up and Tanya takes me to work with no issues. I've already told her I get off at 6, so unless something happened, I expected her to pick me up on time as usual. Around 6, I get a missed call from the cab company, which is usually my signal that the automated system is informing me that my cab has arrived. I wrap up my last few assignments for the day and put my vest in my locker and grab my belongings to take off for the night. Then I clock out and head outside, and nothing? No cab anywhere in sight. She drives a Prius, so it's kinda hard to miss. I go back inside and ask my colleague to come out and check if I was delusional. I wasn't, so I text Tanya and ask her if she had gone home for the night. She says yes, so I think, okay, no problem, I'll just call the company and see if they can send me a driver. I do exactly that, and they explain that since she was already assigned to my trip but was unavailable, they would send it to the first cab available. I tell them that's fine, but that they should call the store since I didn't have my phone on. That was technically a lie, but my phone was about to die on me too, so take that for what it's worth. I tell the assistant manager what's going on and explain that I can keep working until they got here so that I could have something to do, but since I had already clocked out, a brilliant move on my part, he just told me to wait in the break room. I did and waited till about 7 o'clock, then I went back up front to check if anyone anyone heard anything. They, of course, said no, so I went and called again to see what was going on. This time, the company told me a cab had showed up around 6:45, but they had marked me as a no-show. So I told them I talked to another one of my personal drivers, aka Daniel, to see if he could help, since he said that even though he wouldn't be working, he'd still have his van and computer so he could come help me if crap hits the fan. I called him, but he didn't answer, so I texted him instead, and he replied that he had, of course, been drinking. So since I'm a responsible and sensible man, I said, okay, since I didn't want to be liable for anyone drinking and driving, especially while on clock. He says to keep him posted though. I didn't even bother. So I called the company back to get another cab and try again. By this point, it's already 8, 2 hours after I was supposed to leave, and the store closed at 9. So I was really getting annoyed at this point. I speak with dispatch and they told me a driver would be there in 20 minutes or less. I replied by saying, okay, well, if they're not here in 25 minutes, I'll call back, and hung up. So I go back to the break room again and I waited. 8:30 rolls around and still nothing. I confirm again with my team and call yet again. I ask for a supervisor this time, and this is a rough translation of how the conversation went between her and I. Hello, thank you for calling. Redacted. I am the supervisor here. How can I help? Hi, I'm calling because I had a time call scheduled for a 6 p.m. pickup and I'm still waiting. It's now 8:30 and it's been over 2.5 hours already. I was told the first driver marked me as a no-show over an hour ago, and I called again at 8, and the dispatcher said there was a driver 20 minutes away and no one is here. Can you explain to me what is going on? She confirms my details and looks up my trip. Okay, sir, hold on a minute. I will attempt to call the driver. Please. She puts me on hold and comes back a few minutes later. Okay, sir, I spoke with the driver and he told me that he attempted to call the phone number that was provided, but that it was for the store, so he was unable to reach you. Do you have another phone? Trying not to lose my crap? That's completely ridiculous. I told the dispatchers that I don't have my phone with me and that they either need to call the store or go inside to find me. They can just speak with customer service and ask for me because my coworkers are already well aware of what's going on and that I am waiting for a cab to pick me up. If he is refusing to do that, he's just being lazy and not following the instructions I gave you. Are you also aware that I'm blind? Because it should be noted under my account. Yes, sir, I understand, but we have already sent 2 cabs for you at the pickup location and we cannot find you. So there is not a whole lot we can do. Well, you're gonna have to figure something out soon because this store closes in less than half an hour. And if nobody shows up by 9, I'm gonna have to start walking. It seems to me that you don't care about helping your disabled customers and nobody wants to follow instructions. So I guess I'll have to figure this out myself. I hang up and storm out of the office, absolutely enraged by this crappy service. I go to one of my supervisors, Katrina, and explain what's going on. I think I'm going to cry. What did they say? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm stuck here or I'm gonna have to start walking. I don't think they're gonna send me anyone. Calm down. We'll figure out something. I'm sorry, that voice is so stupid. I walk away back to the break room and hold my head in my hands, not knowing what to do. I then call my mother, who by this point knew what was going on, and she said she would try to talk to the company herself. Ha! Good luck, I tell her sarcastically. She calls me back a bit later, and I kid you not, tells me that now they're saying I was already picked up and in a cab. She, of course, denied this and told them I was still waiting. I started thinking, what the absolute flippity-doo-dah do these people not understand? Eventually, it's 9 o'clock, meaning the store is officially closed. I go back out up front, still trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. I've been waiting for 3 hours already, and I just want to go home. After the store is empty, Katrina comes up to me and offers to call the company herself. Goes to the store phone at the customer service, and I give her the number. She talks to somebody and explains the situation for the 759,275th time. Then tells me that they're supposedly sending another cab and that she also told them to call the store or come inside, the latter of which was impossible since all the doors were locked. But she told me to stay at the desk and not hesitate to answer if the phone rings and she's not there. I grab a stool and sit down and wait some more. My mom calls me and says, "Cab 17 is in the way to picking you up and will be there shortly." I don't know what her accent was. Her accent is insanely strong, so this is practically verbatim. I tell this to Katrina, and she comes back and continues to wait. 9:30 rolls around, and my mother calls me again, saying, "There is 2 cabs outside waiting." I'm like, "What the fuck?" And tell her I'll check and call her back. Then find Katrina, who calls the manager, and after finishing the till count, goes outside with me to check. Nothing. We're both done at this point, and go back inside and go back to the assistant manager again. Nothing? Nope, nothing. "So what do we do now?" "I don't really know. You don't have anyone else that can pick you up?" I shake my head no. "Well, he's already been here waiting for almost 4 hours, and I don't want him to walk home with his vision in the dark." Go silent for a second. Then the assistant manager says something I never expected. "Call the police." Katrina, slightly confused or surprised, "Okay." God. We go back to the service desk, and Katrina calls the non-emergency number for the local police. She explains what's going on and then hangs up and then tells me they'll send some officers over as soon as they can. 2 officers get there around 10, and I explain everything to them. "Where do you live?" "Redacted city, 10 miles to the south, at around redacted intersection." They look at each other, dumbfounded, and try to figure out what to do. Long story short, they got approval from dispatch to take me home, even though it was way out of their jurisdiction and far outside of city limits. They mostly did it since I was disabled and had no other means of transportation, and none of my coworkers could take me home either since they still had to finish closing, and I would be there even longer if I waited. In short, I finally got home at around 11 p.m. 5 hours after I got off work, and about 4.5 since I was supposed to be home. My mom was pretty upset, mostly at both the cab company, but a little bit at her husband too, since he didn't want to come pick me up either, despite having 2 cars. Roll my eyes. "Oh, and how long exactly does it take to get from the store to my house?" "In good traffic, 15 minutes, 20 at most." I then ate my very late dinner, then went straight to bed. Called the idiot company again the next day and filed a complaint, though I doubt they'll do anything about it since they haven't really done much of anything in the past since all of their stupid changes started happening. Update! So this happened on Tuesday, and I'm actually posting this on Thursday, and believe it or not, it almost happened again. Yes, I'm serious. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad this time, and I only waited about 1 hour to be picked up, probably because literally everyone was watching for them like hawks since hearing my horror story from the other night, and I kept annoying them on the phone. Oh, and this time, at least I was smart enough to avoid clocking out until they arrived, because I'll be damned if I don't get paid for that crap this time around. However, the idiot driver decided he would try to cheat the system and take the scenic route back to my house using the highway system surrounding the area and going in a giant circle instead of a straight line to get paid an extra $10. Of course, I'm not that stupid and got a receipt, and I'll be reporting that fraud tomorrow so that I don't get in trouble. As they say, I'm blind, but I'm not stupid ass butts. So that ends my tale of woe. This wasn't my first horror story dealing with this stupid company, and I'm sure it won't be the last. Let me know if you want to hear more. For now, I'm going to bed. Happy New Year, everyone, and good riddance, 2020. Oh, they do! RIP inbox. Firstly, I want to thank those of you who have already taken the time to read this post and either upvote or comment or both, and wanted to answer a few of the comments that I did get after waking up this morning. Yes, it's still morning over here, but barely. First and foremost, please remember that one of the biggest problems in this is that I have bad vision, and that this took place after sundown when it was completely dark outside. I cannot see in the dark at all, so as one comment stated, I should have been waiting at the door at 6 p.m. That would have been impossible since 1, I was on the phone with 2 customers at the time doing my job, and 2, they are supposed to call me when they got there. It's literally written in their notes that I am blind and that they must call. And 3, remember, I had a personal driver scheduled to get me at 6, but But since she wasn't available and the trip was assigned to her, that basically meant the trip was in limbo until they reassigned it. I don't think they even realized this until I called the first time 15 minutes later. So for those of you who want to blame me, reread the post and get your facts straight. I did everything I was supposed to. Secondly, I want to thank everyone who sincerely apologized that this had happened. And unfortunately, yes, it is an ongoing issue, but it has never been this bad before. Fed drivers threaten me, scream at me, demand payment for trips that were supposed to be free, etc. This is why I usually try to ride with a friend, since I know they are people who I can trust. Now, when it comes to blaming my coworkers, my store is sadly understaffed, and some of us are seriously overworked. I think that by the time the store was closed, there was probably only 10 people left at most, and all of us live in different areas of town. Some way up north, others way east or west, you get the idea. I was one of them who lived to the south, and I don't know a lot of colleagues who live in my direction, and don't have very many good relationships with a lot of my coworkers either. Most of the ones I am good friends with either had already left or were not working that day. So yes, my hands were pretty much tied. I will be calling the company again today to tell them about my problem from last night. So hopefully I can make them aware of these issues at the same time, but again, I highly doubt anything will come of it, since they just don't give a crap anymore. I'll try to respond to as many comments as I can, but can make no promises. Thanks again for reading. Update 3! Sorry, update 3! Wow, a Reddit award? Okay, I will take it. Thank you, kind stranger. I will show it with pride. Yikes. Okay, that sucks. Okay, I would literally, I don't know how I would handle that situation without freaking out and screaming at people, but you need to find an alternative because that is so not okay. There's one thing a cab company doesn't want to lose, it's a regular customer. So, yeah, you might want to threaten them with a bad time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.